This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro, and today I'm talking about the need for a new world order. These days, there is not much people talking about a new world order. And during the times of Bush father, there was great emphasis on the need for a new world order. The new world order that we need, of course, it's not the order that was convenient for Mr. Bush and their pals. A new world order, it's basically the need for an international system, economic, financial, geopolitical, and geoeconomic, that serves the people. Because the problem is always the same. It doesn't matter what kind of order, for as long as it's imposed from top down, for as long as the common citizenry doesn't have any saying, doesn't understand the basics, the structure, and how it functions, that international order or global system of governance will always be rigged to serve the interests of somebody, and usually it is the reason we need a global order. It is because we live in an interdependent. The world is composed by sovereign countries, but sovereignty depends on a financial system and a monetary system that really works nationally and internationally, because the financial system, the international financial system, whether it's a globalized one or regional or whatever, it can function. It can be designed to benefit, and when I mean design, I mean legally designed, and in order to implement an international order that benefits a few countries while exploiting most countries, which means that sovereignty is worthless, because sovereignty is not only about having defined borders and a flag and the national anthem and all that cultural features that identifies a nation or a country when the country is composed by several nations, a language or more than one. all those features. The international institutions and organizations and treaties that are the basis to allow countries to exchange, to import and export, to have relations, commercial relations and political relations with other countries, might be not fair. I mean, they are not fair. The ones we have, they are not fair. So for us, the working class, the lower classes, there is the need for a different global order, international global order. We can only defend our sovereignty if we also defend an international order that makes commerce and makes the international trade be fair for all of us. That's why the financial system, the banking system, the international financial and banking system, it's the most important feature. It's not about imposing tariffs or other taxes that they might be able to protect to a certain extent our economy, but they might cause inflation, and they have other problems that in the end never benefit the ordinary citizenry. And when policies are crafted by leaving aside, by not being focused on being designed for the collective good, they should not be implemented. It's not. They have the perversion. They are not for the universal good, but they are designed to benefit specific groups. And usually those specific groups are the oligarchs and plutocrats. The BRICS, the Belt and Road Initiative, and the multipolar order are at the moment defying the Western-based hegemonic order, which means basically the Anglo-American empire, which in my opinion needs to be, because we do not need a global order. That was the intention of the United States, to impose economic and financial order that was basically used to extract rents from the rest of the world to pay for the military industrial complex, for the geopolitical and geostrategic order that the United States wanted to use to impose global governance. And the problem is not global governance or global rules. The problem is who controls what. This is the basic problem why people do not understand that demonizing the state that we need. The state is basically the way we need to organize a complex society. We cannot avoid to have a set of institutions that have the purpose of organizing a society and an economy. It is impossible to do it without a set of institutions that are and people and employees and the public sector, which by public I mean state sector. We cannot just, our complex societies cannot work without that. The problem is how do we set these institutions in order that they serve the common good. That's why we need a strong public sector. That's why we need money as a public asset. Money can only be controlled by the money creation. Needs to be controlled by the public, by the state, not by private. Otherwise, the private sector, the for-profit private sector, the ones that seek profit, maximization of profits, and accumulation of wealth, they will gain the power to control the state, to control the institutions that we need to organize society. And that's why these people, these corporate, they blame the state for the problems created by them, that they profit while profiting from contracts with the state and from subsidies and bailouts and everything else, because all the laws are crafted to benefit them, and then they try to make us believe that the state is bad. The state doesn't work. The state needs to be shrinked. Because they just want one thing. They want to have more power. They don't want to have laws that control them. They don't want to be. They want to be above political control. That's why the new oligarchs, the tech oligarchs, they want to replace politics with technology, to create an order that is basically controlled by them. Because who controls and owns the technology will control society. That's the same problem and the same paradigm that is repeated again and again. And many of us, or most of us, instead of understanding that the problem is not the state, the problem is not that it's not the what we get for free, is not the universal basic services. It's exactly the opposite. is the commodification, everything, including life itself, that will functions to exclude many of us from accessing and satisfying the basic needs. And the order, the international order they want, is to impose these rules not only in people, but of course in countries, to allow them to control the resources, the economy, the territories, and make the life of ordinary people more difficult everywhere, literally everywhere. They do not mind, actually. The leaders that they prefer are the authoritarians, but not the authoritarians on the left. If there are countries that have strong communist or socialist leadership, they don't like them. But if they are right-wing fascists, they like them. And why they like them? Because they will make sure that the poor people and the political adversaries will be jailed or killed or tortured in order to implement that international order that might serve the upper class and the oligarchs and plutocrats of that specific country, but at the cost of impoverishing the rest of the population. And this pattern is so easy to detect because it has been applied all over the world, in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia, that the CIA, with the help of other intelligence agencies, they have been supporting coups d'etat to install dictators, while telling the world that the countries that resist, that have governments that resist imperialism and capitalism, they are authoritarians, they don't like democracy, they hate markets, and all the rest of the narratives that too many people buy into it instead of trying to understand the reality. Because actually, the reality is in front of us. They have been trying to build a reality that was based on the imposition of a global governance through the so-called rules-based international order that would allow the United States, and by the United States I mean oligarchs and plutocrats, to control the world economy and the world geopolitics and geoeconomics. That was the aim, while making others pay for the military repression and to be encircled by bases, American bases and NATO bases all over the world. So the BRICS, the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, and the multipolar world is already defying this order. That's why we live in, I do not call it interesting times. I find it stupid to call it interesting times. We are living dangerous times. And they are dangerous above all for one reason. They are dangerous because too many among us, and by us I mean the ordinary citizenry, do not understand how the mechanism, do not understand the mechanisms of the economy and finance and banking, international, that are the basis of the what was called the New World Order by Bush, the father. And that, in my opinion, we do not need, I always repeat it, we should not put our faith in saviors or heroes or charismatic leaders or whoever it is, not because there is no good leaders in this world. There are not people that are able to put even their life on the line for the common good. They exist. These people exist. And we do not reject them. But in order to help them, to help the ones that are really able to sacrifice their lives for the common and the public good, we need to become aware how the real world, how the world real works, how the real world works. And because how can we, without understanding what's wrong, what are the roots of the problems that so many people suffer, goes through unnecessary suffering. And I always emphasize this concept of unnecessary suffering, because they are unable to satisfy their needs, their basic needs. And they do not, and many of us do not correlate these problems with the international institutions. We do not understand that the problem is the system we have in place. And this system doesn't come, it was designed by someone. It was designed with interests to serve certain interests, and we do need to understand it. We need to understand the roots of the problems to think about what kind of international order or global order we should build in order to make us all everywhere, it doesn't matter your color, your creed, your language, whatever, your nationality, that order is to serve justice and truth. And everybody has to be accountable for that. Because where I see the problem, the roots of the problem, is because we have been for so many centuries and millennia uh, making our not being responsible for our own lives, which means that we have been giving others the power to design systems, to craft institutions that serve to control our lives, to control our lives and exploit our time, to use the time of our lives in order to produce wealth for them. And then they gain more power over time, and while they do it, they create moral codes, they create narratives that glorify them, that make them superior, that make them look superior than us. And again, they call us losers. They just call us losers, as if as if we all that work for a living, we all that are the ones that produce, the ones that provide the services, the ones that make society work, are the ones to blame for the problems that are created by the wealthy. The wars are created by whom? And for the benefit of whom? Why do we need to follow psychopaths, megalomaniac psychopaths that want to control the world? What do we benefit with it? What does the American people benefit from financial capitalism? Okay, there are certain percentage of the population, 10% of the population, that they are rich, they have good lives, they benefit with the system, with the rentier system, that's what it is, financial capitalism. That, by the way, doesn't have to and nothing to do with the real economy. Just making wealth out of that, using that to leverage investments, to buy financial assets, to buy treasury bills. I mean, that's nothing to do with the real economy. It doesn't protect anything. It doesn't create anything. It just, yes, it creates that. And gets rents out of that, out of the increase of that. That's where these people gain control of real assets in the real economy, and land and resources through games, through schemes that should not be allowed. That's a game, because that is not favorable for the common citizenry anywhere in the world. And by the way, for those who believe, like Steinbeck said once, that Americans are just momentarily embarrassed millionaires, forget about that. You are not that. What you are is part of the common citizenry. What you should think and identify with is the ones that is exactly like you, or in lower than you, because it's easier for you to go down than to go up. At this moment in history, it's easier for all of us, for the majority of us, to become losers than to become winners. And never use the exceptions. Never allow them to make you believe that the exception will become the rule. No, the exception just serves to prove the rule. So, the existing system, the existing financial and economic system that serves the Western oligopoly, it's not about flaws. Every system has flaws, and this system also has flaws. But this system is designed with the purpose of extracting wealth from the many. This is by default. This is not a flaw. So, and that's why we need to not, we always try to adapt to survive. What can we do? That's what most of us. That's better that we adapt and try to take some advantage of the system somehow. But that will work for some of us. That's for sure. That some of us will be able to do it. But it cannot work for everyone. It is an impossibility. It's a mathematical impossibility. It's not because we are stupid or we are, we do not have the will. It's because the reality doesn't work like that. You can create as much money. The banks can create as much money. By the way, as I would like people to understand it, they create most of the money that is created is going into the financial economy. It's not going into the real economy. It's not going to be invested to produce goods and services. It's just for the casino economy. And we should understand it. Because we need to. And they can create as much, that's why they can have quadrillions of derivatives. But that is meaningless. It's not meaningless because this is the people that actually are now taking control of everything. Because what we need to understand about the reality of our financial systems is that they use the financial instruments, all these schemes, in order to create this fictitious wealth, but with which they can control real assets, real resources. And we need to understand it, because this is against our well-being, against the common good. And they don't want us as accomplices. They don't want us to understand that they are our enemies. That our enemies are not the Russians or the Chinese, but the oligarchs and plutocrats, the oligopoly that are controlling our lives. I'm not trying to demonize them. I'm trying to make people becoming aware, to help people to become aware that these people are not our friends. They are the ones responsible for the mess we are in Europe and in America. They are the ones responsible for why we do not already work less hours, have stable lives, because there is abundance. We do not have lack of food to feed people. We do not have lack of anything. We just need a society that is and an economy. We just need an economy that is I call it a sufficiency economy. We cannot have everything we want, not because we do not have money to buy it, but because it's senseless, because it's irrational that we think that we can have everything. But they cannot have everything as well. We should not which is the word that I mean, the luxurious items they can enjoy. It's not envy. This is not envy. I don't want them. They should not exist. We don't need those luxurious yachts and private planes and huge mansions, and now they are building bunkers, and I mean they are buying land in New Zealand and in other places to build these private cities. I mean, these people should not, what I'm trying to say, that they should not be used as role models for us. We should refuse to believe that their lives, their thoughts, their ideas are the ideas that to be followed. They are not. We have to have our own ideas about what kind of society do we want, what kind of civilization do we need. And that's our responsibility to think about what kind of new world order do we want and need that works for all of us, not only for some. That's the main that's the point. We need international institutions that really work for all of us, that are that serve to implement a level playing field, to help the countries. It's based on cooperation, international cooperation, on fair trade, to implement, to help the economies and the countries that are behind to become to grow. That's the ones that need to grow, to provide for their citizens, to create a sustainable economy and a sustainable world. In spite of this word has lost all meaning, but is still important, I guess, that we should build a sufficiency economy. So I'm going to end here. Thanks for listening. I will be back soon.